Greetings from today. I'm going to start a series called Details of China. I was born in Beijing, I'm Chinese myself, and I grew up here as well. So I can give you lots of things about China from my first-hand experiences. So today, let's start the topic by chopsticks. As you all know, that chopsticks are a symbol of the Chinese cuisine and Chinese dining culture. Indeed, chopsticks are one of the main dinnerware used in China, as well as spoons. However, things are different according to personal preferences, and some people in China prefer to use chopsticks more than spoons, and vice versa. For drinking soup or congee, normally they use spoons instead of chopsticks, of course. Forks are also used occasionally, but not much, by Chinese in China. Speaking of the texture of the chopsticks, there are different kinds. For the vast majority, chopsticks are made from wood or bamboo, which is widely available in southwest part of China, like Sichuan province. And wood and bamboo are two kinds of economical materials. And occasionally we also have chopsticks made from bones. You might have heard about chopsticks made from ivory, but they are extremely rare these days. Out of the reason that ivory is a forbidden commodity in many parts of the world, including China. So it's very hard to get. In the past, ivory was a symbol of nobleness and being rich. If you ask me about how long Chinese have been using chopsticks, actually it's only 3,000 years. Of course you think that 3,000 years is a long time already. However, compared with the Chinese history, which is 5,000 years, 3,000 years is not as long as we expected. And before that time period, Chinese used to use other dinnerware, like spoons and forks, which are similar to the Western ones. However, they're not exactly the same. They differ in many aspects. And at that time, forks were only used by noblemen, the rich people. And for ordinary people, they couldn't afford metal, so they could only use spoons made from bones. You know, some bones tend to shape like that, like a spoon. When you eat meat, you might have noticed that. And poor people just use that part of bone to be the spoons. So when chopsticks came into being, at first they were made from metal as well, like bronze in particular, as bronze was more commonly seen. However, as we all know that the rusted bronze can be extremely harmful for human health, so the wealthy people started to use chopsticks made from silver. When it was in Ming and Qing dynasty, the chopsticks that Chinese people used were similar to today. And you might have known that chopsticks are not only used in China, but also used in Japan, Korea, as well as Vietnam. You can also see this widespread usage in other Chinese communities across the world, especially in Southeast Asia, like Malaysia and Singapore. And chopsticks used in different countries have different lookings. Like in Japan, the chopsticks are shorter than Chinese one, and they have pointed ends, which can be helpful for picking fish slices like sashimi, as well as removing the fish bones. And in Korea, they're made from metal, and they're flat-shaped, which is said to be useful when in Korea they have to move small dining tables from place to place, and if they're flat-shaped, they're not easily to roll about, so it's more steady. There's also a myth in Korea claiming that using this kind of chopsticks can be helpful to strengthen people's brain, since they're more challenging to use, actually. And if you ask me about how I learned chopsticks myself, honestly, I can tell that nobody taught me at all. My family, my nursery nurses, helpers, nobody taught me at all. I just look at how adults used chopsticks. I just follow suit. In nursery, at the very beginning, they still provided spoons, which are much easier for small children to use. But one day, all of a sudden, without any warning, they gave us chopsticks. And we felt it was extremely fancy, and small children just they love mimicking adults, and they're very excited to do what adults can do. So we just started to use it naturally without any instructions. It can be an interesting topic for foreigners to wonder about how exactly Chinese use chopsticks. How do we pick food? Do we use chopsticks for all kinds of food? Yes and no, because it really, as I said, really depends on the personal preferences. And it's not always for, it's not for certain. Let me take myself as an example. I use chopsticks to eat typical Chinese dishes, vegetables and meat, as well as noodles and rice. I even use chopsticks to drink soup. Can you imagine that? Or even congee. You might wonder how I do that. Actually, as you see, the liquid itself cannot be picked at all by the two wood sticks. So that's impossible. And I just use my chopsticks to pick the solid food stuff inside the soup. And for the soup itself, I just drink it with the bowl. So that's how I do it. And of course, for many other people in China, they might prefer to use soup spoons to drink such stuff. As I said, that when eating noodles, of course, Chinese use chopsticks. But actually, from once in a while, I prefer to use a fork. As a Westerner know fully well that it's extremely convenient to eat spaghetti using a fork. And it's the same case with noodles, actually. And for rice, some people prefer to eat with spoons. But, the rice always eaten together with the dishes. The sliced vegetables, etc., the food, the meat. So if you just, switch between two different kinds of things, it can be really troublesome. So normally, people in China just use chopsticks only in this case. And there are several taboos for using chopsticks, actually. It's like the dinner table etiquette. The etiquette actually has several kinds, several aspects. I can tell you a few of them. One of them is that you should never stick your chopsticks onto the foodstuff, like a bowl of rice or like Chinese bread or something. You just sometimes it's rather convenient to do so. You just stick it and you want to do something else with your hands, and without getting the chopsticks dirty. However, that's considered offensive to many Chinese, actually, since it resembles same ritual as paying respect to the dead in the graveyard, you know. Since when we go to the graveyard, we might want to burn some incense, and you know, it looks like exactly the same. So you really should avoid doing that. And of course, you can never point your chopstick to other people while eating. That's really offensive. Since you know, on the tip of the chopstick there could be some food scums, and if you just point to them, and it's like attacking someone, and with some dirty stuff. So, in order to avoid that embarrassment, you should never do that. And of course, we all know that Chinese food is rather tasty, and you don't want to waste any of it. You want to eat it fully, and you want to eat to the last tip of the food. You want to suck the the chopsticks at times. Of course, you should never do that, since you know it looks like that you're without any manners, and you can't do that. You just after eating, you just put it down. So that's the way you should do it. Okay, so today we have talked a bit about the chopsticks used in China and how we use it, how we learn to use it. And if you have the time and you have the conditions, you can try to use chopsticks at home as well. It can be really interesting, and it is also said that using chopsticks can be beneficial to your health, to your mental health, etc. Okay, so much for today, and in other episodes in the future, I will tell you more about China, about you know, the details of China. And if you have any question, you can leave messages down below. Thank you. See you next time.